This country is called the heart of Eurasia. It has brought together the culture and traditions of more than 100 nations. Today, Kazakhstan is a dynamically developing young state. The interests of major international organizations are concentrated precisely here. They adapt to world practices and introduce global initiatives. Such large-scale cooperation has already shown the results. You'll find more on this in Kazakhstan International Vectors.
This year, the Delhi High Court has banned one of the Chinese electronics manufacturers to promote and sell its products in India. It happened because of the infringement of patent rights. Spain from the next year will increase the responsibility for the use of pirated content on the internet. Now, the owners of the websites containing questionable links would have to pay a fine of 600,000 euros. By these means, the authorities intend to deal with the violation of intellectual property rights. The need to protect copyright and intellectual property rights appeared almost from the moment of creation of the first artistic and literary works. The legal protection of the authorship for the first time was registered in England over 200 years ago. Historically, the Great Britain probably was the first country where such documents appeared. They are known as the Statutes of Queen Anne and appeared in early 18th century. Before that, the acting rulers of different countries, kings, were issuing the so-called privileges to the authors of books or some other works. Usually they were plans and drawings. Later, with the development of progress, the Intellectual Property Institute also evolved. Now, the authors of television programs, music pieces and computer research developments are trying to protect their rights. It is supposed that the author of any art piece has a right to have some contributions, additional profit and anything related to the use of his or her creation. As a lawyer, I can say that protection of intellectual property, of course, is an institute of civil rights, which inevitably demands its embodiment. Today, the concept of intellectual property is based on a number of international agreements, for example, the Berne Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Works or the Universal Copyright Convention. Actually, if looking back in history, the European states, when creating the Berne Convention in the end of 19th century, were basing on principle that there is no necessity to regulate protection of authors' rights. They thought that on the legal level, locally, it would be better for each state to create a common center where all the information is kept and available for everyone. Almost all modern states develop their own intellectual property protection systems. Everywhere there are branch laws which, although similar in many respects, still have some differences. In order the protection of copyrights become possible, various international covenants and conventions were created. Creation of the international structure itself on the protection of intellectual property rights in its concept development has goals to protect, guard and develop the Institute of Intellectual Property. Kazakhstan also pays attention to the protection of copyright. To this end, in 2003, the country joined the World Intellectual Property Organization. Innovator Eduard Yugay believes that such international cooperation contributes not only to the development of the patent law, but also gives an opportunity to Kazakhstani patents enter the world market. The intellectual property, to which the government is now paying great attention and actively developing, gives possibility to so-called garage technologies appear on the wide market. Thus, the innovations which were created by non-professionals reach the public. The World Intellectual Property Organization was established in 1967. The main activity is to promote the protection of copyright throughout the world and administration of key international conventions in this regard. WIPO has 188 member countries. Headquarters are situated in Geneva, Switzerland. For 4 years, Eduard and his colleagues have been developing an electric voltage stabilizer. This technology reduces the cost of electricity by 20%. Now a scientist tries to draw the copyrights. He hopes that the next year his innovation will be available on the shelves of domestic markets.
ту технологию, которую мы сейчас.
Technology that we can suggest now is unique. There is no such technology or its prototype in Kazakhstan. Europe has development alike, but the basis of our innovation is quite different. The whole mechanism differs.
То есть похожие технологии есть.
The World Intellectual Property Organization provides legal, technical and advisory assistance to all countries in the sphere of protection of intellectual property rights. Representatives of organization are also involved in the preparation of international treaties and laws in the relevant field. The results of the work are quite evident. Since 2011, Kazakhstan has improved the indicators on the protection of intellectual property rights and moved in the global index 42 points higher. For the last 5 years, the number of patents on intellectual property in Kazakhstan has increased by 61%. Under the auspices of WIPO, the Worldwide Intellectual Property Day is celebrated annually on April 26th. This year the main theme was the world's film cult. WIPO's activities are under the UN office control. Therefore, the organization is working diversely, including training of personnel in the field of intellectual property protection. At that, for many years, a special WIPO academy is functioning. Each month we have different seminars and trainings in different cities and regions of Kazakhstan. Korean representatives have visited our country, and within the framework of these seminars they've shared their experience on developing creative thinking among youth. It was very interesting. WIPO seminars and workshops are being held around the world and in different subjects. According to experts, this work not only allows students to improve their skills, but also creates an opportunity for inventors and potential investors to interact with each other. Patent is not a prestige or a simple paper. Patent should work. This creates the development of economy, innovations and gives additional profit to the owner. From that, the requirement arises: an invention needs to be brand new. Patents are an important trend in the work of organization. Many inventors, having conquered the local market, want to enter the international one. Here, WIPO's assistance is very important. After all, file a patent application in each country turns out to be expensive. Besides, the language barrier creates additional obstacles. All these barriers can be ruined by the Treaty on Patent Cooperation. We give only one application to Geneva. It is called an international application. There we mark all countries that we are interested in the form of a list. The application is being published, and afterwards, during 30 months, people who want their patent to go international has time to get acquainted with the market. There are also regional patent departments operating in WIPO. For example, one such institute provides copyright to Europeans. The representatives of all the countries of the old world can address to it. A similar association functions on the territory of Eurasia. Kazakhstan also participates in it. In 1996, we have created a Eurasian Patent Department. 9 CIS countries are its acting members. There, the common patent is issued, which operates in all member states, and then this document is supported by the payment of annual fees. It happens because in order to make this patent be available during, for example, 20 years, an inventor has to pay some money. The World Intellectual Property Organization is working almost around the whole world for over 40 years. Under its governance are the protection of copyright and patent rights, trade secrets or know-hows, and protection of new plant varieties. At the WIPO, an arbitration and mediation center operates. Since 1999, this organization provides services for disputes that arise during the registration and use of the most common typical Internet domain names .com, .net and .org.